YouTube and on Facebook. So there we go. Okay. Right. Yeah. What is it? Thursday today. Wow. I'll tell you what a week, huh? What a week. Coming up in 11 minutes time, Andy Mackie with me. And he's on Skype right now. God bless him. And bit of news at the top of the show, all that, blah-de-blah. Oh, yeah. Brexit or Brino. Brexit or Brino. Brino. Okay, right. See you in a bit. Yeah, if you are watching an archive, you might want to fast forward about 11 minutes. Yeah. Oh, fine. Copyright free Facebook, for goodness. It's actually quite nice, that. In fact, you know what? I'm going to play that again. That's really nice.
I'm feeling so hollow. Don't you know? Don't you know? I'm living in shadow. Don't you know? Don't you know? I fell for fools gold. I fell for fools gold. What did I know?
Yeah, that's right. Teresa bloody me. Fool's bloody gold.
For fools gold. I fell for fools gold. What did I know? What did I know? You were fool's gold. Yes, I did.
Why on earth do we put a bloody Remoron in charge of Brexit?
Yes, I did. And I did it all for love. Yes, I did it all for love. Oh. They say fools believe in it, so I guess I'm one of them. Oh, don't you know? I fell for fools gold. I fell for fools gold. What did
you know? That Boris is golden, isn't he? He's got a golden top.
I know? I fell for fools gold. I fell for fools gold. What did I know? What did I know? You were fool's gold. Yes, I did.
You should be checking this out on DLive, people. DLive, yeah, support free speech. Links at the top of the page, or whatever it is, that thing. Andy, I like those glasses, mate. I like those glasses. They're nice, man. I can't hear. Hold on. I can't hear. Why are you muted? I'll sort that out. 5 minutes, people. 5 minutes, decent people. Yeah. Okay. Right. Let's get on with this. Hold on. What's that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, blimey. Hey, folks.
Oh.
Yeah, and welcome to the Daily Chaos. Showing daily, but the chaos is. I'm Olly Connelly. Thanks for turning up. Yeah. And now, denied justice. Truth Machine Andy Mackie is a survivor of tremendous abuse, another Catholic scandal, yet has been denied justice for 30 years, with the courts ruling that he will never receive justice. There are hundreds like him in just this one case. Yeah, as I understand it, he's going to explain all this. So he's here now, and you too, I hope, taking calls on Discord from the bottom of the hour. guv.li/rant. And I'll see you in the comments. DLive is the place to watch if you care about free speech. guv.li/chaos. It's on that Facebook thing. Yeah. And if you want to call in, yeah, I said that. Share the show, like the page, all that. I suppose I'll go through a bit of news. Yeah, let folks know we're watching, we're thinking, we're talking. We are active! Oh, blimey. Come on, go. Right. Yeah. That's fine. Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to go. Hey, Andy. How are you, man?
Hi, brand new, mate. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, good. Loud and clear. So if anybody can't, please pipe up and let us know. But I think that's fine. I think we're fine tonight. Andy's on Skype because he's another technophobe. But that's all right. That's okay. Let me find some news and we can see what is going on in the world of fake stream. Well, I mean, there's lots of stuff going on with Brexit, actually. The papers this morning, of course, there's a lot going on about Cliff. I avoid kids since Cops Raid, he says. You know, I really do think that this is a big smokescreen, frankly, to distract away from Elm Guest House in Barnes. And that's the whole deal. That was the whole thing, the reason that the BBC went in like that, to bust their own cover, if you like, to bust open any chance of there being a proper investigation into a far more important allegation. That cabinet ministers, for example, were crossing swords, frankly, in a boys' rape and torture den with IRA terrorists, for God's sake, or members of the IRA anyway, at the time that there was a mainland bombing campaign. It's just absolutely incredible. I mean, all of the different angles of this, you know, obviously the child abuse is one thing, and that whole thing, I don't know if you ever saw that interview Bill Maloney did with Chris Fay. Just absolutely unbelievable. But then you've also got this kind of like, you've got this chumming together between allegations about Leon Britton, let's be frank, a boy sat on his lap is supposed to be in there. Certainly on Carol Kazir's list. She ended up dead, didn't she? I'm going off on a bit of a rant now, aren't I? But this is very, very important. And that BBC thing, this, you know, Cliff, I think they're just blowing the cover on what that big story is that resurfaced about, I don't know, what was it, 8 years ago or something, off the back of Savile copping it. And now they are managing to not only make Cliff a kind of, you know, sort of saintly figure, if you like. I'm not saying he isn't. I'm not saying that he is Kitty, as alleged by Carol Kazir of Elm Guest House. I'm not saying that. I don't know. But I do know that story was way, way bigger. And I think that's what the police should have been talking about or looking into. And that's what the BBC journalists should have been looking into. Instead of sending up a bloody chopper to film the police pulling his underpants or something out of his knickers drawer through the windows there. And he's watching it in the Algarve. I actually feel offended for Cliff Richard over that, I have to say. It's terrible. Awful invasion of privacy. No public service whatsoever. No reason to do that at all. No reason to disclose his name. What needed to happen was for the police to be investigating Elm Guest House, which may or may not have anything to do with Cliff Richard, I don't know. But according to Carol Kazir, it did. That's what I'm saying. Right, okay. So that is what they're talking about. The BBC have basically blown a hole in the whole capacity to be able to look into VIP paedophilia, basically, via Elm Guest House. That's what's happened. It's not about Cliff Richard at all. He's just like another pawn in this whole game, really. Whether or not he was involved, I don't know. But he's still a pawn in this whole game. And they're getting a bit of a pass, aren't they? There's nobody talking about Elm Guest House now. It really is quite incredible. And the other thing that they're doing, the other aspect of this, which is almost as serious and very, very serious, is that increasingly we've seen since about the 1980s, the press has had its powers of what they can and cannot say eroded with these so-called privacy laws that were brought in from the EU. Now, to an extent, I agree personally with some of these, but on the other hand, there has to be discretion. There has to be discretion. In this case, they did not need to release his name. It was, the judge was right on that. But they knew it! They knew it! It was so stupid. There is no way those journalists and the legals at the BBC would have let that out. That stupid stunt with a chopper, for God's sake, it's just big as belief. From a journalistic point of view, it's just nuts. It was completely a false flag. Just blow the lid on the whole thing. A complete distraction. Smoke and mirrors. Elm Guest House is the story. And where that leads with pie and all the rest of it into the House of Bloody Commons. Okay. Right. I feel better now. I feel a lot better. In other news, a bit on Trump, just very briefly, because it is quite big too. Reckless media pushing for major confrontation with Russia that could lead to war. That's his take, and they are just absolutely, mad. Donald Trump lambasts EU over 5.1 billion fine for Google. And that's interesting. It's almost as though the EU is thinking, you know what, damn, we're going to lose this, 12 billion a year from the UK. Oh, we got to start filling those coffers. I'll tell you, let's tap Google. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just... Gallup shows how much Americans really care about the situation with Russia. And in their list of priorities... here we go. When asked what the most important problem facing the nation is, Russia did not even warrant a 1% of the... so anyway, basically they don't give us stuff, which is interesting, is it not? The Independent, okay, here we go. Long-term fall in crime is over. As statistics... no shit, Sherlock. As statistics show spike in robbery and murder. This is the Independent, yeah. In fact, you know what? Let's get the Breitbart's take on it, because it will be more candid, I suspect. High harm violent offences involving weapons are soaring in England and Wales as crime wave continues with knife and gun crime as well as homicide shooting up. 31% more rapes. Jesus. 21% more other sexual offences. Bloody hell. Yeah, okay. The Brexit minister to publish no deal. Brexit plans in warning to Brussels. Okay. The new Brexit secretary, Raab, is to ramp up preparations for a no-deal Brexit as both Brexiteer and pro-Brussels Tory MPs threaten to rebel against the Prime Minister's widely unpopular Brexit deal. Anyway, yeah, so he's in Brussels, reckons he's in charge. We know it's Ollie Robbins, mate. It's all right. You know, you can admit it. But anyway, Brexit white paper in doubt, says the Express off the back of that story, as EU diplomat brands it unacceptable before crunch talks. EU bosses have warned Theresa May her white paper will not form the basis of any Brexit plan, raising fears Britain is going to crash out of the bloc without a deal. Michel Barnier's team of negotiators and his deputy Sabine Wayland put the knife into Britain during tense talks after Mrs May's chief advisor, Ollie bloody Robbins, presented the Prime Minister's Brexit blueprint. Okay, yeah, so, good. They don't like it. Good! We want no deal! EU plot will fail. This is an important story. EU plot will fail. Peter Bone, forces Brexit minister to promise Article 50 won't be extended, okay? Listen to this.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The question relates to when we leave the EU. I have a little digital thing on my phone that says we're going to leave in 253 days' time. But, Mr. Speaker, there's been a lot of talk today in the media about the government considering extending Article 50 and the exit date. Will the superb minister lay that rumour to rest and confirm that the Prime Minister is going to stick to her guns and we're going to leave on the 29th of March next year?
I'm very happy to reassure my honourable friend, as it says in the EU Withdrawal Act and as it's clear in the White Paper, that we are going to leave on the 29th of March next year.
Okay, so you've heard it. You've heard it from, I don't know, some government underling or something, but from the government. Brexit white paper rebuke as EU says it's not negotiating UK's offer to Brussels. Okay, I'm just going to spin through these now, but basically it's the same kind of deal, isn't it? So we understand. Brexit white paper in doubt as EU diplomat brands. Oh, okay. I think I just had that tab, didn't I? And Brexit bombshell. Brussels shock prepare for no deal document has been released. So yeah, they've been doing that apparently. And Brexiteer Lord Digby Jones rips into Remain camp for destroying the will of Brits. I thought it would be nice to listen to this guy. I've not played Digby Jones on the show before. I thought this is 2 minutes, yeah? And Andy, mate, as soon as this guy's finished, we're going to have a good old chat, man, all right? This is Digby Jones. Let's have a bit of a listen to what he has to say, because he's got a lot of... he's a good man.
From the day that the referendum came in, the establishment and the Remainers decided they were going to use every legal way they know to make sure this never happened. And they are very, very close to pulling it off. And what we have got is the best thing on offer is basically to become a colony of the European Union, where we have no say, no vote, pay for it, and yet basically follow their rules. And at the same time, at some point, someone will say, do you know what, we might as well stay in, because at least we have a say and we don't pay any more money.
Do you believe this has been a deliberate, concerted, thought-through conspiracy, a plot by the establishment to do this?
Definitely.
And who do you, what do you think? Civil servants, politicians, who?
I'm a great believer in the cock-up theory of life, not the conspiracy theory of life. You know, I don't believe people and events and things can be held together for conspiracies. But what I do think is that various different parts of the establishment and the Remain camp have destroyed the will of the British people. And if someone's going to say to me, well, the way to sort all this out then, if you're right, Digby, is to go and hold another referendum, all I'd say is, if the Remain camp win that time, can we have a best of three, please? And after best of three, can we have a best of five? And it's EU form, isn't it? They've got previous on this.
Let's have another World Cup.
Netherlands and Ireland, when they voted in referenda against what Europe wants, they make them have another referendum. And it's absolutely the same. And I feel, the coup is nearly finished. It does upset me. What I would say about Boris in his speech yesterday, the man is a busted flush. And I never wanted him to be Prime Minister. I think the chances of it now are virtually nil. 2 reasons. One, factual, which is the Tory party rules for leader mean that the MPs, and only the MPs, have the first vote. The top 2 of those go through to the country, Tories in the country, the tens of thousands or whatever it is, who actually choose between two people. And on that basis, Boris will never get out of the Commons because not enough MPs would support him. But what I would say is the next leader of the Tory party will not be for about a year or so.
Okay.
I've got a real problem now.
Yeah,
because
that was it. All right. Okay. Well, that's what he thinks anyway. And just one other story. Oh, I got rid of the thing, didn't I? There we go. That's back. Okay. Breitbart is reporting that now, Andy, I want you to listen to this. Yeah, I would like your opinion on this. The UK government office knew about the mass rape gangs a decade before investigating. This is according to Breitbart. There's a story today. Britain's Home Office had received information about Pakistani grooming gangs. I think they mean child rape gangs, yeah. Raping vulnerable white girls more than a decade before it finally commissioned an investigation. A review had found that documents relating to an unpublished report which detailed men who are believed to be responsible for pimping and grooming young people into prostitution in Rotherham, northeast England, was sent to the Home Office in 2002, but the department failed to act on it. The revelations were reported in the Home Office's internal review, which I could open as a web tab right here. The Rotherham Independent Review, a review into information passed to the Home Office in connection with allegations of child sexual abuse in Rotherham, released Tuesday, and which considered whether the Home Office, we've known about this just since Tuesday, all right? This came into the public domain on Tuesday, and which considered whether the Home Office properly handled material sent to it regarding child sexual exploitation. 10 years, Andy. 10 years, man!
Yeah. My view on that is that it's based on Muslim communities, is it? Am I right to say that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is. It's a big section of them, isn't it? I mean, it seems to be.
You never had gang rapes before, all these people came in and I don't know, it's I really can't comment too much on it.
Andy, the thing is, it's just another aspect of this. Is just so. I mean, you're a survivor, so I take my hat off to you. They don't want to talk about this, whether it's Pakistani rape gangs with a Catholic faith. With you, it was the Catholic faith, wasn't it? What is your background, Andy? What's your background? You tell us a bit of your story.
Well, where I started off from, I was born into both my parents were alcoholics. Didn't feed us, or I think the first ever report of me being on a record was when I was taken to doctors and was found to have bruises and malnutrition. That's when I got put in care at the age of 3, where these people are supposed to be caring for us from then on in. To cut a long story short, it's started off at 3, got moved to 2 different foster parents. The second foster parents, where all the abuse started taking place, where it was beatings, basically been kept in one room. All the foster, she had 5 kids of her own and 6 foster kids. And all the foster kids were kept in a separate room. They weren't allowed to mingle at Christmas times and birthdays and things like that. We were just kept in a room or in the back garden. So we was basically used as commodities because these people were paid for each and every person that they had in the room. And this was a 3-bedroomed house. So my life started, really started taking notice of life when I was about maybe 6 or 7, when I've got memories back from right then, having heads banged off walls and being treated like a second-class citizen. And from 8 years old, I was the youngest at the time to be put into what they called a maladjusted children's home.
Right.
Dayton Close School. I stayed there till I was about 12 or 13, where I was abused, touched up in shower rooms by members of staff. Members of staff used to get kids fighting each other in the boot room for their own pleasure. Loads of stuff like a lot of mental torture, standing with your hands on your head, with your nose touching the wall until you basically collapsed on the floor. And then was woken up and told to go to bed at like 1 or 2 in the morning and stuff like that. And these were punishments dished out for talking in the bedroom to your fellow inmates, so to speak. From there, I went to St William's, where I was touched up in Dayton Close School. I can't mention any names because there's ongoing court cases and things at the moment, but I was touched up by 3 members of staff beaten by a couple in one school. And then when I went to, because St William's it's been made public now, I can talk more freely about what happened there. Even though there's still other court cases going on, there's 249 to go. But when I got put there, I was only there 3 months, and when I very first arrived in the playground, the new arrivals were being told straight away which priests to stay away from, because it was run by the Diocese of Middlesbrough and another religious order called the DLive order. And between the two of them, there was abusing children from 1965 to 1993 in that kids' home, before it finally got jumped on by the system, by the police, and an investigation started in 1993, and then it rolled right back to 1965. And the cases have been going on for over 30 years now. My particular case, I was knocked unconscious, and then presuming by my descriptions of what happened to me in and out of the 5 days, there's a good possibility to my description what the police have said that I was probably drugged up for those 5 days while they were raping me, basically.
Oh man. Look, Andy, mate, I'm going to play something. I'm going to play something on YouTube. This video that you sent me, which is very. It's going to help a lot of folks to get filled in also, and with what's going on with you, and a lot of people. And this is it does explain a lot, folks. So have a look at this, yeah. And if you're on DLive, then you can see it. So there'd be a bonus. That's a hint, yeah. Okay. This is about 12 minutes long. I'm going to play the lot. All right?
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Andy. Okay, mate.
Yeah, if they haven't paid it already, they'll have to pay it.
Sorry, your name again was?
Who's paying? David Greenwood.
Hello, David. I'm Andrew.
So did you still have to pay that £7.9 million now?
Yeah, their accounts show that they've agreed it, so they'll have to pay it.
Who else?
Dallas House.
Done what, sorry, because I missed out that. The Dallas is different, the brothers. Yeah. The Diocese of Middlesbrough was the Catholic side of it.
Yeah. What's happened? If you've been following it all the way through, what happened at the Supreme Court was that they decided that the Diocese of Middlesbrough were responsible for everything.
No,
so
the Supreme didn't.
Supreme Court did, yeah?
No, the Supreme Court brought the DLive into it. It was this court.
No. Let me finish, yeah. So, it's Diocese of Middlesbrough, they cop for everything, yeah? Because they operate the place, yeah? But the LaSalle's had their people in doing the teaching and the abusing, yeah? So they have to suffer some of the compensation, and how they split it between them is up to them, I suppose. So what seems to have happened, unbeknown to me until I had a look at their accounts in the summer, is that between them, the LaSalle and the Diocese of Middlesbrough agreed with the LaSalle's to buy off their debt to Diocese of Middlesbrough. Have agreed to pay £7.9 million.
7.9 million
to the Diocese of Middlesbrough.
So they're public. They get taken out of the public eye then. Is that why they've done that? Because
they just want to draw a line under it.
How have they come to? How do you think they've come to that price?
Personally, I'm more.
It's not about money. It's about.
I'm more concerned about the judgment that's actually being made. Sorry.
That's the question.
The question.
To explain it.
Yeah, please.
There's been 4 decisions made so far.
Nigel, are you walking up?
One has been successful. Right. Okay, Nigel. Yeah. Keep in touch. Yeah. Are you coming back down?
Yep.
Right. Okay. So one has succeeded. That was a chap who was raped by Carragher whilst at a holiday home in Scotland. One incident of rape. So he was awarded £14,000 on the basis that, and it's a low award, but it's on the basis that he didn't suffer psychological injury, but that it's just for the rape itself.
Sorry,
okay.
Can I? So just to clarify, one of the awards was in favour of the claimant.
Yeah.
£14,000 was awarded for the rape itself.
Yeah.
But no other award was made because it was deemed that there's been no psychological damage done to the claimant as a result of him being raped while in the care of a home that were instructed to look after him due to his circumstances. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You heard that clarification, yeah? I just want to point that out. In fact, I'm going to play that last bit just again, because it's only a few seconds.
There's been no psychological damage done to the claimant as a result of him being raped while in the care of a home that were instructed to look after him due to his circumstances. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Right. Okay.
Course, yeah.
So with regards to the three other claimants, because obviously there's a fifth claimant that's going to be ruled on at some point
today.
That's yeah. So with regards to the other three claimants, what's the judgment with those?
The other three,
because obviously I'm assuming, am I right in thinking there was five? Yeah. Okay.
The other three, it was decided that they shouldn't succeed.
Did the judge give any reason why in his judgment?
On two of them, it was that it was so long after the event, and the evidence is not strong enough, in his view, to enable the cases to go ahead so long after the event. This was all to do with the time limits issue.
Yeah.
And in the other one, he allowed he said that it was able to go ahead, but that he had reservations about the claimant's evidence. So he decided that he couldn't say that it had definitely happened.
Okay, so with the three that were not in favour of the claimants, on the basis that the judge feels there's not enough evidence or too much time has passed for a fair trial to be heard. Okay.
Yeah, right. Can I just say something there that's triggered me off there? If they're saying that it's time out, some of them, and yet one of them is let go through, how can that be? Why is that? Am I correct in thinking,
can I ask the question to kind of sort of mirror that then?
Yeah,
so obviously if you're not allowed to divulge specifics, I understand that, but the claim that's successful, the one claim that's successful today, and the three claims that were that were probably going to be appealed, the time limits between the declaration of the successful claim and the evidence given, and the time limits between the three unsuccessful claims, are they in and around the same amount of time?
It's a mixture.
Okay.
So he was in time then.
The later, the one that he decided.
It's time. Could I ask that question?
Sorry.
Listen, I'm not.
I know.
Really not going to get into time.
Yeah,
it's all right, Andy. It's a good question, but I'm really not going to get into time limits. I don't recognise them. I don't recognise the timers.
Yeah,
what I recognise is whether it happened or not.
Yeah, I accept that, Mr. Greenwood.
I totally accept that, but I'm on about them putting a time limit on it. They shouldn't. Well, they obviously shouldn't be.
They want anything that didn't happen yesterday.
It sounds like they're using the time limit as an excuse.
Exactly. Exactly.
Evidence in the land. Refutes time limits too.
So even the system itself is letting us down purposely.
That's exactly it, Andy. It's the system.
So what's the next step for the three cases that have been judged not in their favour, potentially?
So we look through them, and the barristers will have to decide whether we've got enough evidence to be able to appeal them.
Okay.
And if so, then those will be appealed at the same time that the next set of cases go forward later on this year.
And the potential time limit for those, just as a rough average figure?
For the next trial?
Yeah. How many?
Probably the end of 2017.
Sorry, how many will
so practically a yearish, give or take then? Okay.
So how many cases will be heard again? Another 5?
or will it only be the 3 that have not been as successful?
No, there's got to be. He's going to put another 5 in.
The recent seminar
Right.
in London,
Got 290 to go. He's going to put another 5 in next year. And in the year after that, he's going to put another 5 in. And then another 5 and another 5. Yeah. This is what's going on.
Has that not been taken into account?
I'm 50 years old now. Right, you work it out with yourself, 249, right? I'm not very good at sums. 249, and you're putting 5 in per year. How many years is that going to take for all of them to be earned? Could you figure that out for me, please?
Well, let's just put this: 5 and 50 is 10. So 5 and 100 is 20. So that's 20 years straight away. So 5 and 200 is 40 years. If we call it, round it up to 250, that's what?
47 years, 8 months.
This time
There we go. There we go.
What's going on?
47 years and 8 months.
I'm 50 years old now. Right. You work it out with yourself, 249.
20 years.
Right. I'm not very good at sums. 249, and you put
Just
5
out
in.
of curiosity, Mr. Greenwood,
Sorry.
from your...
Try to interpret it and use it.
That's it, that's what it sounds like.
Just out of curiosity, Mr. Greenwood, why would you not, on the basis that more would equal a higher probability of success, put in all 249 cases at the same time, as opposed to just put 5 cases each year?
That's a very good question.
Would you like to answer it?
I can answer that.
I'm not going to.
No, let him.
I'm not going to answer it. It's for the court to decide.
Is it the court that have decided you're only allowed to submit 5 a year, or is it your...
The court decided. He's only going to hear 5 at a time.
No way, man.
So pretty much that sounds like the court are actually
100%
obstructing a path of justice by allowing less evidence to come to the case, as opposed to having collective evidence come to the case, so that it actually stand more merit.
The way that the court system works is that they try to... obviously, court cases are important. Some more important than others.
Yep.
And what has been said since the late 90s is that you can't just have an unlimited amount of time in court. It's got to be weighed against the importance of the case, the money at stake, the importance of the case to the individuals, and judges decide on how much court time is going to be used on that basis.
Sorry.
I would say that this is so important, not just to the guys in the case, but to the country as a whole, that it should have 6 months, 12 months, 2 years set aside for the whole thing to be examined, if that's what they want to do.
The problem still stands though, and the question still remains. Wouldn't it still be more cost effective and time saving if you actually still brought 249 cases together, as opposed to 5 cases over each year, which would be 47 years and 8 months?
8 months? The idea behind the taking 5 cases at a time is that sooner or later the penny will
47 years to get all of these cases heard.
Drop with either the defendants or with us, that either we're going to win loads or we're going to lose loads.
But clearly, I don't think that. I think
that get to the table.
I think the point is here is more
willing to come to the table.
I think the point here is really not the amount of compensation or loss or gain, but more the justice that needs to be sort of served, but also kind of what needs to actually kind of sort of be identified and dealt with in society, which is quite clearly a disgusting problem that goes from top to bottom of the tree. Do you agree or disagree?
I do.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good on you, sir.
This is
Mr. Greenwood.
Should be taken out of the civil justice system altogether. It should be in a redress scheme. We shouldn't have to come to court. We
No.
have to go to something like the Criminal Injuries Compensation Authority, but which is better,
than the civil scheme.
Yeah, where there are people trained in being able to deal with these cases, to understand them. This judge, frankly, I don't think understands.
Okay, Andy, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah.
So this is this case, these payment. This really is about when they decide how much each victim survivor receives, each survivor, because some of them didn't survive and they won't get anything. Is that right? As opposed to the crime was decided, that was judged I'm gathering from this a long time ago, yeah. But now they're just quibbling over what you should.
Can I just
please
go back to the very start of the video? Yeah.
Yes.
When I was asking the question about this 7.5 million, and the other guys were saying no, it's not about the money. But the point I was trying to get to on that was that they have decided before the courts have even decided what should be paid out, the church have already put 7.5 million to one side. I don't know whether you picked up on that or not.
Yes.
But
Yes, go on, please.
The guy who was doing the interview didn't quite get where I was trying to get at from that. Because if one guy's getting paid £14,000 for one rape, well, you're talking a high-class hooker for that kind of money. Who do they think they are, man?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It ruined people's lives. People have committed suicide. People have poured petrol over themselves and set themselves on fire. One guy's still doing a tweet on a thing called The Needle, where he's laid in a hospital bed with 75-degree burns. Can't move out of bed, never will for the rest of his life. All he did was want to die. He curses the guy that saved him his life. Do you know what I mean? Because he's made his life a complete hell now, because not only can he not stop thinking about everything that ever happened to him, he now can't do anything about anything because he's strapped to a bed. You know, and these are the kind of struggles, and then a judge decides that this particular man deserves £14,000 because he believes this man hasn't suffered any mental health issues or ever thought about it since it ever happened. You know what I mean? Disgusting, man. Anyway.
No, man, I tell you, it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. But this now, what this wrangling is over is they were. I'm guessing that this diocese, for example, let me get this right. Is this the Middlesbrough diocese we're talking about here?
Yeah, the Diocese of Middlesbrough is one group, and the De La Salle Order is the other group. And what's happening with those is that there's been 7.5 million put in a pot by one of the religious groups, and they have gone and passed this money to the other religious group and said, you take care of it. So that means that whoever is paying everybody is going to be in the limelight. So now these two people,
right,
even though we're like a sideline to them, they're chucking this 7.9 million between each other, going, we don't want responsibility, we don't want it. It's like a hot potato to them, because they know it's going to ruin whichever lap it lands on. You know what I mean?
This chap, Mr. Greenwood, is he your legal counsel?
Yes, he is. Yes, but I think.
Go on. Okay, maybe you shouldn't say I don't know, but you seem like a nice guy. I mean, but I don't know. Right. Maybe tied in legalese. Well, I don't know.
Let me bring your audience up to speed on this letter, shall we?
Yes. Yes. Now I've got that. Let me pull it up. So, in fact, I want to read that. Let me see if I can find it. I'm not going to put it on the screen because it's got your address, but I'll read it and.
Listen, I'm so open, man. I don't give a shit. Who knows
no. I'm not going to do that. Just in case. I'll tell you, they're a good lot around here, though. They won't come around and rob you. Here we go. Right. Actually, it's a shame you can't see this in a way because the graphics on it are amazing, Andy. I got to say, it's like paedophile cover up. Not anymore. The court cases have been going on for 30 years of my life. Torture. Only another 100 to go. Andy, how do you get that 100? They were talking about 47 years in terms of the payout. What does that mean? What does that 100 refer to?
Well, they've now changed the minds, and what they've said is now, and basically in that letter.
Oh, okay. In that case, we'll come on to that. In that case, let me read this first because this is from the 18th of June, just down the road. Yeah.
Just a couple of weeks ago, eh?
Written to Mr. Mackie.
First of all, they're saying it's going to take 47 years. That was 2 years ago. They said it was going to take 47 years. It's already been going on 30 years.
That's right. Actually, it says at the current rate in this letter from the solicitors for the other side, at the current rate, or your solicitors, is it? At the current rate of trials, it will take approximately 100 years for all cases to be completed. And so something radical needs to be changed with the court system to ensure that cases are dealt with quickly now. Okay, Andy, so what's the update from then?
Well, the update is the 47 years is now turned into 100 years, unless if you read further down the letter, it's saying about 10% to, I haven't got the letter in front of me, but it's saying that, it's basically saying it's going to take 100 years, but if we go to the church and say, look, we'll take 10% of our charge for the compensation, then maybe they can strike a deal. That's basically what the letter is saying to us. To go to the people who abused us and say, please, sir, if we drop our claim 10%, will you please just compensate everybody so we can get on with our lives and bring our grandkids up and our kids and give them what we've never been able to provide for them because we're so fucked up and can't get jobs. And it's like, they just want to draw it out for 100 years, so we're all dead.
What do you mean?
The last case is heard.
What do you mean by your 10%? I don't understand that reference.
Well, whatever we get paid, we give 10% basically back to the church is what we're agreeing. What the solicitor is asking us to do is sign paperwork to give 10% of our claim back to the fucking church. So we take 10% less.
Why?
If they settle out of court and just pay up, but they'll never do that because they don't want to admit what they've fucking done. Yeah. And it's pennies, really. It is fucking pennies.
But that doesn't make any sense. If they've been found guilty, what benefit is it to them apart from penny pinching to be sent 10% back?
Whatever. Well, to me, it's the way these solicitors are justifying getting paid for the next 100 years. The solicitor's firm will get paid all the time for the next 100 years. They're guaranteed money off the government now for the next 100 years until they're all done. Because we also got a legal aid claim, but the solicitor's firm have got some of us to sign a 25% away to the solicitor's firm when our compensation comes.
Really?
And then we're going to have to give another 10% back to the church. So the solicitors have been getting legal aid for years on end, right? Last 30 years have been getting legal aid for each and every case. There's 249 cases left yet still to be heard. They said 2 years ago that it was no longer, this is in the courts and that, and I've got recordings of all this carry on, that it's no longer in the public eye. They treat it like the Hillsborough disaster. There's that many cases, and because they can't send the priests down anymore for what they've done, because they've already served 12 years, and that's the maximum under the new laws that they can serve in prison, that it's not in the public interest to carry on any more criminal action against them, right? Which would keep them in jail for the rest of their lives if that was to happen, right? So they're going to get released in 2 years' time, and it's all over with for them. We've got another 100 years to go before we get any kind of peace of mind. We're never going to get justice the last 249 cases because it's been deemed it's not in the public interest to carry on, right? Which means those 249 cases will never go on record as a criminal offence, which won't go against the church now. You know what I mean? And if it's 100 years and more before they do actually admit their guilt and stop arguing and making excuses and just pay the compensation that's due, do you know what I mean? What can I say, man? They're just trying to burn us out of time. I mean, there was talking about time limits on the cases. So if it's going to take 100 years, by the time the last case is heard, right, when we'll be out of time anyway. You know what I mean? If they're already saying there's people that are out of time, and the abuse started in this kids' home in 1965 by these people, and they got away with it till 1993. Right, that's how long there was abusing people in this kids' home, man. They got away with it for that fucking long. Excuse my language.
It's all right.
And, they wrecked thousands of people, not just hundreds, thousands. But there's still 249 left, and they're saying they're not going to hear anymore. We're just going to put it down to compensation claims now, right? So it's in a private, gone to, a private court or something now. Do you know what I mean? Where it's no longer like a criminal thing they're looking at. It's a civil fucking matter, and it shouldn't be. And because it's a civil matter, to hide it and to stall it, the church is pouring in, millions of pounds. First of all, to defend these paedophile priests. It was later found out that one of the paedophile priests that was abusing us had been working in a kids' home before he got moved there. The church had complaints about him. The church had complaints about him in another kids' home he was working at, and they didn't report him to the police or defrock him. They just moved him to St William's where we was, so he could carry on, and did so since 1965 to 1993. Fucking justice. Excuse me, sorry, I've got PTSD.
You're all right, mate. You're okay, Andy. You're fine. Well, this particular show, I decided we can swear. You know what? Fuck it. Go on. Yeah. Sorry, Andy. You do actually, don't you? You do actually. You have PTSD, don't you?
Yeah. I diagnosed with PTSD quite a few years ago. It's no wonder, really, if you knew my full story. But yeah, it was even a shock to me. What do you mean I'm fucking ill?
Oh man.
It's like.
Take a few comments. And we've got one or two folks on Discord as well. Probably want to have a word. So Joe Blogs on Fascist Bot. I'm sick and tired of having a government decide on what to do with the money we give them, because it's clear they are not using it to subvert the course of justice on high-profile criminal cases. I do not consent. Thomas White. Good luck, LMA, and I mean that, I really do. That's so she's working on a class action against the government. Good. Amanda Thompson. Oh my God, Andy, put everything in a really safe place, love. Joe Blogs, not in the public interest. We know what that means, right, people? Sylvia Shaw, suffer the little children to come unto me. What a fucking joke, yeah. I normally don't repeat people swearing in the comments, but today we're all swearing. LMA Renton, and this is why I despise religion. It's a load of BS. I think she means bullshit. And is used to start wars and abuse kids. Yeah, that's right. Thomas White, it's the same system if we take May to court for treason or any other MP, when the only way the government will sit down and take notice is when the country when we bring the country to a standstill with an all-out strike. Yeah. Yvonne Tierney, the greedy solicitors, should hang their heads in shame. 25% they want. What do they get? 25% of 7 million then? Is that what they're after, or what?
They get 25% of each person's claim.
Right. Bloody hell. Out of 240, it does go on for a long time. It is, what I was thinking, Andy, when you were talking about all of this, somebody, who was it that came on the other day? And I think basically, this is an industry.
Yeah, it was. It's a massive paedophile ring that will never be totally exposed in our lifetimes or my grandkids' lifetime. The news will come out when nobody's fucking interested. Sorry.
It's all right, man.
The news will come out when nobody's interested, man. When everybody's died and there's nobody to compensate, or, they've lost track of the family, or, they'll get away with it. They are getting away with it, and they're going to get away with it, and they're using the law to do it. They are doing it. I mean, the letter that I got, even the solicitor is actually lying in that letter. He's saying it's going to be 100 years or so. How did he word it? 100 years or so. Well, in fact, there's 149 cases to be heard, right? And it's 2 cases a year. I don't know. I'm not very good at sums, as I've said to people. It was 47 years. Now, I mean, how long is it really? It's more than 100 years, surely. The solicitor's saying it's going to be another 100 years, but if there's another 249 cases, with only 2 cases a year, come on, general public, tell me, how long is it really going to take? I've not even bothered figuring it out. It's laughable at 100 years.
The thing is, Andy, this has actually had more sinister, frankly. I mean, we've been talking about this angle, and this is bad enough. The cover-up, really. Another Catholic cover-up. But that aside, you've received a lot of intimidation, haven't you?
Oh, just a bit. Off the police and stuff like that for questioning them about their lines of inquiry and things like that. Because, but let's face it, the police themselves, in my view, and I do have video evidence of this as well that isn't public at the moment, because I'm hoping someone's going to pick up my cause and help me put all this together. I'm desperate to meet somebody who will. I've got so much footage that I haven't made public. I've made so much public just to give people a taster of the sort of things from year to year they batter our heads with. But they do it in other ways as well, like phone you up on your birthday and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Mackie, we're here just ringing you to inform you there is now no records of you ever being in care." It's like on your birthday, like, cheers for that, Suicide by phone, I call it. I've got used to these phone calls during birthdays and Christmases now, where they ring up and, they just give you shit news, man. They know it's going to depress you over this supposedly festive period of time. Now, I don't think I've ever had a peaceful Christmas, like, without some shit swimming around in my head, it'd be nice to get one, but for them to ring up and make it even fucking worse, knowing the suicide rate of victims like us, or I won't call us survivors. We're still victims. We're still being victimised by the system. We're not survivors at all. We're still being victimised, mate.
That's right.
It's by them and now by them, and now it's even solicitors. I mean, there's videos I've got where solicitors have said one thing and then just blatantly gone ahead and done another when you've asked them about it. I mean, the solicitor on this video sounds all very good, and he agrees with me that the system are now letting us down, and he agrees exactly the system are letting you down. And for a solicitor to say that, you'd think he was on your side, but in fact he isn't. But what else has gone on is this solicitor seems to have a franchise on these kind of cases. I don't know how he's done it, but he has, because I've got video recordings of these as well, where I phoned up other solicitors firms, because I know he's bent, he's lied to us, he's let us down. He didn't want to go on record that two members of staff that witnessed other members of staff abusing kids, right? He was supposed to have put an application in 3 years ago for these people to appear at court as witnesses. But how did he manage it? He totally forgot about these two critical witnesses to put in court for these court cases that failed as a witness to put their statements in. It was right on the day. He realised that he hadn't done it. He asked the judge on the day of the hearing, before anything started, he's still got the right to ask the judge, can you please let these people in? But it's up to the judge's discretion whether he will or won't. Well, he decided not to. So basically, the solicitor created for the judge to score a goal for the church by failing to get these two critical witnesses in to give evidence on what they'd seen with other members of staff abusing boys, which would have probably saved those cases that had collapsed. So basically, the solicitor played a part, in my book, in collapsing these court cases, and the judge played along with it by denying them to come in as witnesses. You know what I mean? The judge was in his right, and that's what the law says. He could have let it go through, but he didn't. But the solicitor created that situation so the judge could do that, in my opinion. And he wouldn't even go on camera to say that he'd made that mistake. While I was in the courtroom talking to him about it, saying, why? Well, at the end of the day, you failed us now. You have failed us by not doing that. And I can say this because this is actually on record, on the hearing records. So I can comfortably say this and know that it's absolutely right what I'm telling you guys. You know what I mean? It's fucking disgusting, man.
Yes, it is.
Disgusting, man. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is, man.
They're all playing a part in this, and when you look into what the police are doing, when I've got videos of this as well that I haven't released, but I am going to talk about it. But I can't release these videos because I will show you them in private, Ollie, right? I will. If you can get somebody here to come and listen to these, but I've got to save them for this court, for future court cases, if I can get the help that I need to put it all together, to present it. You know, there's loads of manuscripts need to be made out of these videos. There's one solicitor, right, that I've got blatantly lying to me on video, right, from a conversation, and then years later telling me other stories. And he is part of what they call the X inquiry now. It used to be called the Godhead inquiry, but now it's called the X inquiry, and I'm part of that. And so is this solicitor that's an absolute liar. And I've told QCs while I've had to go to London and give evidence and things like that. I've told QCs about these certain solicitors' involvement in the inquiry, and that I've got tapes for him, and they're not even fucking interested, man. I'm saying to him, someone should be looking into this, because he's part of this. And if it's found that a bullshitting, lying fucking solicitor is involved in it all, do you know what I mean? And getting things changed and done, it's all on a false pretense. It's all built on fucking lies and bullshit anyway. None of it's right. You know, if they're allowing, if I've caught a solicitor out lying blatantly on tape, yeah, and he's part of a government inquiry and he's part of the input into that, how the fuck is that? And how the fuck can't they take my evidence and show it? So yeah, I need someone. I'm prepared to, you know, go. I'm an in on it. Oh, okay, it's no problem with that. I don't really give a fuck about the conversation. The conversation was supposed to be about my son and his kids. You know what I mean? And seeing my kids and grand.
It's all right, sir.
Kids having some kind of a future, you know what I mean? Because I've not been able to provide it.
That's right, Andy. Listen, Andrew Skelton. That's all right, Andy. God bless you, mate. Andrew Skelton says, and it's an interesting point, I think. They have handed it over to a tribunal by the sounds of it. For fuck's sake, he says. And he also says, this is criminal, not civil. The bastardos. That's an interesting point. They have, haven't they? We've got Predator Jeff. We've got Predator Jeff here on Discord. And if anybody would like to call in, you're very welcome. guv.li/rant. Going to be going on for about another 15 minutes today, all right? So, Jeff, come on in, mate. What do you want to say? How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Hi, Jeff.
Are you all right, mate?
Can you hear each other?
All right.
Yeah. Oh, good. They can.
Can you hear me all right?
Go on.
Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Amazing. Incredible. Okay, go on. I'll turn both your volume up so you can hear each other even more. Go on.
Hello, I can hear you fine, eh? I can hear you.
That's Predator Jeff. Go on, what would you like to say, sir?
Let me just get my sound boosted a minute.
All right, no worries. We've got Modem Geek here as well. He never says anything, though. He never says a word. He always comes in. He's just an interloper, really. And if you do want to call in, guv.li/rant.
Is that better?
And Andrew Skelton's comment, by the way, was on DLive, yeah? We're getting some comments on DLive now, I'm pleased to say.
My audio.
DLive guest, XY Liggy Layer, says, nice little learner, referring to this whole legal wheeze. And Carl Stevens in there, bless him. Thanks. I don't know. It's gone. It's just scrolled out. Thanks, that's something to do with using this newfangled DLive thing. Nye Bevan News is there. Is that? Yeah. Hold on. I think that's John, actually, isn't it? So, they're talking about DLive and how to use DLive. Anyway, okay. Yeah, do start using DLive. When you go to DLive, first of all, just so that you know, you do have to register, or otherwise you're going to come up as a DLive guest to comment. You can comment anyway, but it's better if you register because then you're going to know who you are and all that. And it takes a couple of weeks with DLive. I have been telling people this, but please do it because people are beginning to cipher through now, after a couple of weeks and what have you, having registered. And we've got to move over there because one of the things, Andy, one of the problems that we've got, sir, is that the mainstream media, the fake stream media, as I call it, as I'm sure you're aware, is not talking about any of this stuff. And we're also getting steadily more and more censored online. And we know it, for example, because the EU tried to pull the wool over our eyes with Articles 11 and 13, which would have made it much, much more difficult to share information about stories like this, for example. And so we have to be using social networks to care about us. So please, DLive, yeah? guv.li/chaos, guv.li/chaos, top of the screen there. And please register, and let's take the dialogue over there and stuff it to that Zuckerberg or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Jeff. Okay, go on. So what were we going to say, sir?
I think I've sorted my sound out now. Is that okay, Ollie?
You sound good, mate. Yeah.
Yeah,
Remarkable.
good. What I was going to say was, I think all convicted nonces and rapists, people like that, I think they should all be castrated. Personally, seriously, before they're released back into public or whatever, or once they've finished their sentence or whatever, they should all be castrated. Definitely, 100% castrated, so that they can't do it. So, you know, it puts them off doing it again.
I have to say, I tend to share that view as well. Andy, what do you think?
You won't want to know what I think.
Mate.
You really wouldn't.
Okay. Aye. I mean, the thing is, though, we do need a disincentive, don't we? And we don't really. I mean, for these guys are getting, Jesus, the kind of heinous crimes. Sorry to blaspheme you. The heinous crimes that people are committing, and they're just getting what? And some of these child images as well. It's not just rape. It's snuff and it's these photos which are. Clearly, there's sexual abuse been going on for their consumer. I mean, but it's just, it is all being normalized. We did a show the other day, Andy. They're actually trying to normalize it. They're actually going the opposite way.
I think they're trying to normalize it within the 100 years. So, like, by the time the cases do come out, it was nothing, was it? There's £2.
Have you tried the angle of talking to the Vatican? Because I mean, this is the Catholic faith, so.
Well, that's why they've got so many people beyond it all comes from the Vatican itself, anyway. All the orders for who was in that children's home, running that children's home, came from the Vatican. So they did basically run the place anyway. You know, they put these two religious orders in to run that kids' home.
And are they what response of? I mean, I've seen the response of this Pope so far as paedophilia is concerned. One of the first things that he did when he, I don't know, the smoke went up the chimney or whatever they do, was he said there are going to be no police investigations into allegations of Catholic priest paedophiles. We're not going to allow any investigations. And I think there have subsequently been some. For example, there's that top Catholic bloke in Australia who's been, I don't know, has he been sentenced yet? I don't know. But he's kind of like the equivalent of the Archbishop of Canterbury or whatever they are. And he's also, is he not one of the he's about the fourth closest to the Pope or something in terms of power. That one, I think, that Australian bloke. They just, it's just so blatant. How can anybody go to a Catholic church? And I really, to me, I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate, I have respect for people to have their faith. I really do. But how can anybody have any respect or any time whatsoever for the Catholic faith and for the Islamic faith as well, for what they do? And frankly, for the Jewish faith, to chop off, a little boy's, whatnot, when he comes out or whatever. It's just, and then you've got your halal and your kosher and all that. It's just all a lot of old crap. I'm sorry, it really is. And we support this. I'm going off. I've probably just, I don't know, Jesus, I'm probably going to get, has Facebook cut me off yet? No. Really, we are just, what are we doing? Listening to these guys that have got their head in bloody fairyland. It just doesn't make any sense. What about, don't get me wrong, I'm not arguing with faith. I'm not arguing with faith. Go on, please.
I think most of the general public have got their heads up their own asses because we're allowing it to fucking happen. They're supposed to be our servants. They're supposed to be carrying out the will of the people, and they just drag the reels. They lie, connive. The police play along with hiding facts and don't investigate certain things when they outright should. I mean, there was an example I gave to some police I've got a video of, right, in a discussion in the courts about how the investigations had been carried out. Yeah, one of them was that I was asking them, how come you haven't interviewed anybody from the kids' home that I was in to see if they had witnessed anything that had happened to me? Because I've been unconscious 5 days, surely loads of kids would have known. And originally they did say to me that it was on house mother had put it in an accident report book that was concerned for a pupil who had been left unconscious 5 days in a room. You know what I mean? With no doctors called, and no one else was allowed to go up into the room, and that was the headmaster's instructions. You know, and then all of a sudden I've got other recordings of the police, like 10, 15 years down the line, saying we haven't got no records of that anymore. And then at the courthouse, I'm having a discussion with the police saying, why haven't you interviewed everybody in the kids' home? And there was like, because there's too many people and too many years. You don't. At first, it was clear that I was there in 1993. In 1983, I was there. Yeah.
Yes.
That's when it was in the report book. They told me that they knew that I was there then, and then I said, right, well, if that's the case, I was only there 3 months anyway. You know what I mean? If that was the year, you know this was the year, so why haven't you at least talked to people in the unit I was in? I said, if someone got stabbed down the street, that block at least, you're saying you wouldn't interview the whole street, but I would expect the police to at least interview that block. Well, in that block I was in, there was only 12 people. There was only 12 people to track down. And they're trying to claim that there was no list that they could get who was there at that time in that unit that I was in. But what the police have overlooked or not bothered to look for is that the local fire brigade has to have a list, because it's a school. Do you know what I mean? They've got to have the numbers of how many people are in and who they are, in case there's a fire. So they could have gone to the fire brigade and said, right, can we look through your archives of, do you know what I mean? Big buildings like that, they've got to be listed with the fire brigade. So, and
yes,
on top of that, they only had 12 people, but their excuse was that they didn't want to get the police a bad name by saying, but because at the time the newspaper was saying that they were accusing the police of trawling, as in like going around the prison saying who was in this kids' home, did anything happen to you, blah blah blah. Do you know what I mean? They classify that now as trawling, not interviewing people or doing an investigation. They classify it as trawling, which is aggravating. You know what I mean? It's like how have they twisted the law so much, man, to be able to not get the truth out? Do you know what I mean? They've just, or get the scale of the people that was in there. Because a lot of us, I've met loads of other kids that was in the kids' home with me in jails, you know what I mean, in my young days. But when I come 21, it was like, man, I don't want to be in here for the rest of my life, and I made a change. But most of them guys who was in these kids' homes were either in jail or they're fucking dead, or they're alcoholics and smackheads. They're about to die. There's not many that have managed to keep it together. Not very many at all. You know, there was. I'll tell you a story about one guy that I met, and he went into this kids' home about 3 or 4 years after me, and I knew him when he came out of care. I bumped into this guy. I can't say his name, but I bumped into him when he came out of care, and I didn't know him, but I got to know him. But I never knew he was in the same kids' home until we were like 40 odd years old, man. You know what I mean? Well, I knew he had been brought up in the kids' homes and that, because I'd seen him in another kids' home when I was still in, but I didn't know he'd been sent to this other one. And I met him, and he is a total jelly mess. He can't have a conversation without crying his eyes out. He's just, as soon as we start talking about it, he's straight there, but it's how you can handle it, and he can't. and he's a few years ago he was a lot like me, but now he's got multiple bloody disorders, multiple, what do you call it, what would you call it, where he's got multiple personalities and stuff like that.
Right, okay. Bipolar.
He's got all that kind of stuff going on, and
schizophrenia.
Yeah, and he's on loads of medication, because when he come out he was a mess like me, but I learned to smoke weed and talk to friends. He just took loads of tablets and stuff, and he's sent up on Class A drugs, and then it's just got even worse from there, and he's an absolute mess now. He's a gibbering wreck, bless him. I go see him to this day and go talk to him and stuff, and talk him down sometimes when he's feeling like he's going to kill himself or something, you know what I mean? And it's hard work to talk to a guy like that for even a trained person like, hey. But, these are the sort of things, just to let your audience know, these are the sort of things that some of us have, just can't get out of our heads. It kills us eventually, like, hey.
Andy, I'll tell you, you should, so you need to be heard. You're a wonderful talker. You really are fantastic at putting this case out, and so many people, I'm sure, must be very, very grateful to you, who can't do it for themselves. Bevan News on DLive says, yep, Pope is a Jesuit and the church is managed by the Rothschilds. Nuff said. Dave Wolf's over there. God bless you, Davey. To change the treason law is treason itself. And that's what that Blair did, wasn't it? So that he wouldn't get hung, only thrown in a dungeon instead. Well, we're going to have to revert that and backdate it! Andrew Skelton says the Pope is a just... Yeah, okay. And Nye Bevan says, interesting that Blair removed the bill. Oh, here we go. Hold on, what's going on? Yeah, comment scroll, it's so frustrating. Interesting, but please keep commenting, don't get me wrong. Interesting that Blair removed the bill for hanging during his tenure, and now we see massive treasonous acts in government. Convenient. Yes, sir. Well said. The Vatican protects the pedos, points out, Dave Wolf. Yeah, points out. And he also says, if the evidence is irrefutable, then death to all pedos. That's his take. Nye Bevan News says, blasphemy. Are we talking about the corruption of the church, for fuck's sake, Olly? Yeah, no, I did. Yeah, that's right. There's I don't think Jesus has got anything to do with the Catholics, and I don't think that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like a Christian, especially. I don't know. I guess the guy who hung about, I think he maybe was a historical character or something, and by all accounts, he was a super chippy and a nice bloke. But I don't know. I've got no idea. But nonetheless, I don't want to offend anyone of their faith. But their religion, they need to wake up. And they need to bloody well pull the bishop out. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, for crying out loud, we've really, really got to shout about this to the rooftops. But the hypocrisy coming out of religion, all of it. It just absolutely makes you want to puke. Even the Buddhists are at it, aren't they? What they've been doing in Myanmar or whatever. I mean, God, Jesus, they're all at it. For God's sake, calm down. We got to start. There's one thing is God or whatever and all that, and there's another thing is religion. It's two totally different things. Just occasionally they happen to coincide. Andrew Skelton also says, good man, Olly. Keep promoting decentralized platforms. They cannot censor it. That's right, Andrew. That's right. That's why we've got to be on DLive, because it's on the blockchain technology, which means they can't erase it. They can't get rid of this. So I better make sure that I don't libel anybody. But anyway, apart from the bloody Pope. The Nye Bevan says, should do a Back to the Future too. I don't know. I mean, this is just your story, Andy, just kind of in summary, really. It's just, and you and so many, thousands of people, it seems to be around the country. And I mean, from some accounts, we're talking millions. And I think that I'm probably wrong, and that they're more right. It's just absolutely astronomical. You are a very eloquent person. You would think that someone like BBC Panorama or Channel 4 Dispatches would just, snap you at the heels for this story, for what you've been telling us tonight, wouldn't you? I mean, how big a documentary would this be if it was on the BBC or if it was on Channel 4? It would be bigger than that bloody documentary about Facebook the other day.
Yes. Speaking of the BBC, met them on quite a few occasions at the courthouse where I told them that I had videos of contradictories within, like the police force being commended by the judge that they'd done such a great job, when I had evidence of the police not doing such a great job whatsoever of investigations that were still out the 249 were yet to be heard and investigated, and they reckon they'd done an investigation and there was nothing to be found. And it's like, mate, what? So how come there was records? How did the police come and see me when I was 36 years old to say we've found some evidence of some misdoings going on at this kid's home you was at? Can you tell us more? And it was the first time I'd really spoke about it to anybody official since then. Like, I said, look, if you want to hear the story about Sir Williams, mate, you're opening a big can of worms. It started when I was 3, when I got put in care, mate, you know what I mean? And so it took them a couple of times to come and interview me and get me story, and then supposedly go back and investigate. 10 years later, there's nothing happened. The investigation is finished, and I wasn't even included in any investigation whatsoever. I was just one part of it. The police had told me that they were going to take so many cases forward first and get them prosecuted, get them sent to prison. When they got out, they'd prosecute again, get them sent to prison. When they got out, they'd be prosecuted again and sent back to prison. But the law has changed since then, and this was the police thing, so they said that my case would be right at the end, because it was right. It was 10 years before he got caught, because it was 1983 when I was there. It was 1993 when it all finally came out and he got arrested and charged, and the kids' home got shut down. But reports have been going on into the police since 1965. But they'd never been passed any further than the North Yorkshire Chief of Police. I can't remember his name. He ended up getting sent down for 2.5 years because he got found to have photographs of kids and that on his computer. Eh? So it goes even deeper.
That's right. Yeah.
Just the kids' home and the religious orders. Eh? The history about St William's, for instance, he goes right back from the child abuse in that particular place since Victorian times, since Queen Victoria herself ordered a report done on what was going on in that place. Eh? You can look for yourselves on the internet. I've got links and stuff, and I have on amongst all the videos I've got and everything else, I've got video links to these websites covering the history of St William's. A guy called PJ, who helped.
That's right, PJ Tansley. God bless him. Hey, PJ.
Absolutely, PJ. I'd like to say, while we're on PJ, like, he's been an absolutely brilliant help with me in the past. He's now got 2 kids, so he's busy and can't give time. But much respect to the time that you've given him helping us research what's gone on in that kids' homes and who's made what decisions. I mean, he's been a massive help. He was. More people like that to help me, because there's loads more.
Andy? Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
What's happened? Andy? Hello, Andy. You went. You're back. I can hear you now. Yeah. The audio did go. The audio did go funny there. Wow. Oh, yeah. Look, okay, I've got another actually a couple of questions really, but we're kind of running out of time as well, Andy. But I do want to see this point out there as well. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What I'd like to say is I hope some of your audience can listen to this at later times and go back on it. And I'd be quite happy to come back on the show for anybody to ask questions that we've hit on this time round. When it'll obviously it would branch off into all kinds of discussions.
Well, I wanted to ask you something along those lines, because I did want to know what. I mean, do you not have any support group really appointed to you guys at all from the state?
No, we're trying to.
For example, to help you to, I don't know, to put together even Facebook group or something like that, just to help to create more awareness and things like this. What sort of support network do you have?
Well, I created the Truth Machine because the police had dragged it on for 10 years. That was the first video that I ever did.
Yes.
Where it's on the St William's child abuse folder I've got on the Truth Machine.
This is something you've had to do. These are things that
most of it myself.
Yeah.
Well, all of it myself. Occasionally people come in like PJ and can really leap me forward, but I've got dyslexia as well, so I'm not very good at reading and writing. I wish I could get more people on board so they can look through the paper themselves and say like, you could do this about this and do this about this, because that's. I know.
Are there no associations of any kind that for example, can get involved that are helping victims of institutional child abuse now, off the back, for example, of the IICSA? I mean, is there nothing?
Yeah, there's groups like called the Flower, some in the Flower, some in, I don't know. There's different groups of people, but I met some of them in the Houses of Parliament, and it's like they all seem to be, they're made of groups of other people that are abused, and they've all got, their own thing to be fighting.
Yes.
So
yes.
I find it difficult to get into it and like write
because it brings
MP
in
letters and things like that.
Because it's a big trigger, Andy. Is that it?
A big part of it is the depression, obviously. Yeah, it brings a lot of depression on having to go through it and know the injustices.
Sure.
And go through the videos, for instance, and make transcripts of the videos and who's talking in them. And then once it's on paper, it can become a legal document saying, hold on, you said this there, and you're saying that there, and you're doing that there. And you're pretending to be one solicitor, and then you're pretending to be another solicitor from another firm. You know what I mean? It was the same fucking solicitor, and he never...
What do you mean? What do you mean?
On video I've got of him saying, oh yeah, that last solicitor that was telling you this and that, and he said he's absolutely wrong, he was advising you wrong, and you do need to fight your case on an individual basis, blah, blah, blah. This went on for nearly 2 years before. One day I was just listening to the videos from this other company and how they'd let me down, and then listening to this new guy, and I was like, hold on a minute, it's just 2 years went by before I realised it was the same fucking solicitor in it. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what solicitor's firm that you ring, they'll still refer you back to him. He's like earlier on I said, he's got like a franchise on all cases. No other solicitor's firm will touch him but him anyway.
How can people get hold of you, Andy? If people can help you, and one or two folks can. Yvonne Tierney actually says, Ollie, I know someone who might help him. He's a volunteer. He's an advocate. How can people get hold of you?
Well, through my phone number, basically, to phone me up and speak to me.
I've tagged you. Look, I've tagged you at the top of this story. I've tagged you, and so people at the very, very bottom of the introduction to this. Oh no, it's on the promo. Okay, it's on the promo for this show. Yeah, it's on the promo for this show. There, you can get hold of Andy through his Facebook page, which is. Can you remind me of what it is, in case for folks on DLive as well, please?
David Downfall Mackenzie.
David Downfall Mackenzie. And Mackenzie has got a funny spelling, hasn't it?
Yeah, because I can't spell very well, so I just spelled it all. I thought it should be spelled.
Go on.
It's. I'm just looking now because.
Hold on, I've got it too. Let me see. What have I?
It's spelled David and then Downfall and then MCENSY. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I mean, I'm kind of around as well, and please do keep us updated. I hope you do. And what's going on?
I haven't actually done anything in nearly 2.5, coming on 3 years. The reason being for that is because the last time I was down in Leeds, and basically the BBC were interviewing the chief of police there and being commended on what a great job she'd done and all this and that. And I was kind of whispering in her ear, yeah, but that discussion we had earlier about the fact that you haven't even interviewed half the people or even looked into half the cases anyway, you've been really sloppy at it. Mm-hmm. You know, I've got a video of this conversation I had with her and that, and others, with other police saying about how much they didn't investigate it, like, hey, and making excuses up as to why they didn't, but saying, oh, well, it's over and done with now, like, you're not going to be heard now, so that's it, you know, it's getting finished with, like, now.
Andy, mate, I've got your page, The Truth Machine, mate. I've got your page, The Truth Machine, and I'll post it in the comments right now. And listen, man, God bless you, man. Thank you so much. You're a very brave man, mate.
Thanks for your time.
Not at all. You got a platform here.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I don't know why that's skipping that outro. Well, I'll tell you what, UK, man, it's filthy Britain, isn't it? It really is. We're learning hard. We're learning. It's just unbelievable. You know, I mean, we've just got to basically get the word out, people. We've just got to spread, you know. I hope everybody shared this show like mad, because that is just a remarkable chronicle from Andy Mackie, and I'm very, very grateful to him for being so brave and eloquent. I can't imagine, frankly. Honestly, cannot imagine. But this is going on all over, isn't it? That's the reality. It's going on all over, and we bloody well got to look at it. We've got to address it, and we've got to get it out there. So please share, people. Please. I'll tell you. It seems to me, personally, we've got to get Brexit. We've got to get our sovereignty back. And then we've got to get Westminster back, yeah? We've got to get Westminster back. This is going on right from the very, very top. Very, very top. And, yeah. Oh, unbelievable. I do believe if enough of us are talking, that'll do it. If enough of us are talking. But, my God, we've got to up that ante. All right, thanks, folks. I'll see you tomorrow, yeah? Dress Down Friday. Daily Chaos. I've been Olly Connelly. Thanks for watching. And, yeah. Here's to us and bugger plutocracy! Okay, Truth Machine link is on DLive, Facebook, and YouTube. So please, there you go. Yeah, if anybody can help you, let's basically keep busting this story. Yeah. Okay, all right, lovely. See you tomorrow. God bless you, everyone.